Technology, a very difficult thing to keep pace with. It moves faster than we can blink and faster than we can buy any new product. And with it comes lots of innovations. And one such innovation is WAYN. WAYN is Where Are You Now? And I was fascinated when Jerome joined us today. Jerome Touze, welcome to the Cape Media stage.
Thanks for having me.
It's amazing. Are you an innovator, a creator, inventor? What are you of WAYN?
I think I was once an inventor for coming up with an idea, but I haven't been much of an innovator lately. I think that my business partners have been leading the show on that one. So I kind of rely on their creativity and talent to do that for me. I
was absolutely amazed, you know. I went on to LINE and I saw 20.88 million hits on there. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's been an amazing ride. I mean, I think 2005, so not that long ago, at least in internet days, sometimes it feels like a long time, but 7 years in company's history is still relatively young. And we had about 40,000 users and still trying to work out how we would get to the next stage. And now we've got nearly 21 million members. So it's amazing.
And where are you now? It kind of says what it is really, doesn't it? But how does that measure up to the Facebooks and all the other travel programs that are on computer that you can look up these days? I mean, where do you stand in that area?
Well, I mean, clearly Facebook leads the dance, and they have been doing that for years. And I think that they've been one of the biggest innovators in the space. And if anything, we aspire to what these guys are doing, and always take a leaf out of the book. But we're not trying to be Facebook, otherwise we would fail. I think that we have our own differentiation. We're looking after a particular niche. We're in the travel and lifestyle vertical. And unlike Facebook, we've been focusing more on the making of new friends as opposed to your existing social graph, your existing connections, which Facebook is by far the market leader in. WAYN has been trying to take a different stance, which is actually looking at the making of new friends when you're going to a destination, the discovery mode, and that's our forte.
First, let me explain. If you're hearing a slight accent there, it's because Jerome's French originally.
I was born in France for all my sins, but I've been living in England for about 13 and a half years and just moved to South Africa 6 months ago.
Yeah, I can still hear the French accent coming through there.
I was trying to hide it, but clearly it's not working well.
You don't have a BIM. Expedia, TripAdvisor, would you say that's competition?
There's a degree of competition, the likes of TripAdvisor, particularly with the type of work that we do, being in the tourism industry. But if anything, again, I would see TripAdvisor again, a great platform for content. If you want to find out where to go, particular points of interest in hotels, I mean, fantastic reviews. I mean, they're very known for their search engine optimization. I mean, they're very great when it comes to the content ranking on Google. If you're looking for a hotel, you go on TripAdvisor and find out what it's like before you actually go. Find the truth before you go.
Or Booking.com.
Or Booking.com. I mean, they're going to have lots of affiliations and partnerships with the likes of Expedia and Booking.com and the likes. WAYN is a community. I think that's one of the main differentiations.
Is it a young community or
not so much? I mean, actually, 60% of our users would be between the age of about 20 to 35, and 40% from 35 plus. So actually, quite a good mix. We're looking at the demographics on the older side that, if anything, is growing and catching up the young generation, and you're seeing that across the board, not just on WAYN.
Very shortly, there's the World Travel Exhibition, isn't there, that's on in London? Will you be exhibiting there?
Yeah, we'll be there. It's one of those exhibitions that is very important for us because it's a great way for us to engage and meet with our existing clients and prospective new clients. Every single tourism boards in the world are going to be present from every parts of the world, whether Latin America, North America, Asia. They're all there to essentially promote the destinations, and it's a way for us to engage with them and telling them how they can use a platform like WAYN to promote the destinations to the world. Talking about that platform, did you ever, in your wildest imagination, ever believe that it would be this popular? No, particularly when I came back from San Francisco, so this is where I had the initial idea, came back to England and sort of shared the concept with a couple of friends that pretty much rubbished it. And
yes, let's talk about those friends, because they rubbished it, but now you've got two friends in partnership with you in it.
Correct.
Are they the same friends?
No. I mean, different friends and sort of relatives. And, you imagine you just come out of university, you've got a bit of debt to clear. And I had a good job lining up with Accenture, which is a big management consulting firm. And so the chance was, you can take that job, clear your debt, and get some serious experience under your belt, or you don't do any of it and you pursue your dream and you work on this idea. And I didn't actually pursue the idea. I actually took the pragmatic route, and I worked for Accenture for a couple of years. But it was really in me, because I really believed there was something to be done about that. And particularly with 6-degree separation concept, they were booming. We're talking about 2003 and 2004. In the US, you had the likes of Friendster, High Five, MySpace. Facebook was starting to really appear in 2005. And so when I came back in 2003, this idea, it was still quite novel, particularly in Europe. No one really understood social network. And so I decided to work for Accenture, and I met, thanks to the experience at Accenture, my current business partners, Peter Ward, who is my co-founder and co-CEO, and Michael Lyons, who is our CTO. Mike was actually involved with a startup you may have heard of at the time called Friends Were United,
yes.
Which was very, very popular, and then became a massive company, at least in the UK. And they were the first sort of, school reunion website concept. And so Mike was working for the founders, so Stephen Pankhurst, and introduced us to him, and we presented the idea to Stephen about this sort of concept of meeting up with friends when you are on the go. And Steve really loved the idea and decided to back it up and give us, I think it was £15,000 at the time. And so we decided to invest that money in our first machine. But we still had a full-time job. It was more the first injection of cash. But for us, it was not so much the money, it was the fact that someone like him believed in the concept that gave us the impetus to carry on saying, wow, if someone like him believed in it, then maybe there's something to be done. And so for 2-3 years, it didn't really go anywhere. We were working evenings and weekends. Whenever we had a chance to work on the business, that's what we were doing.
Will you ever sell, WAYN?
Well, look, never say never. I think that we've been doing this for quite a few years, and we're enjoying the ride. And I wake up every morning with a passion, and I'm still dedicated to what we are doing. No one knows what the future holds. In this current market, I think it's very hard to imagine that sort of eventuality. We've got plenty of growth to look after.
Something
right now
tells me that you're looking at other things already.
Well, actually, right now, yes, we are looking at other things, which is looking at further innovation. We've actually had a recent release on the site, which we're extremely proud of, which I invite you to check out. The site is changing. If you look at what the site looked like 2003 versus what it's like now, it's a complete different beast. And we're extremely excited. We actually believe that we've only started to scratch the surface. There's so much more growth and potential in this business that, to answer your question, no, we're not looking at selling. But who knows, in 2, 3, 5, 10 years' time, it could be different.
But if you look at that, I mean, and we're talking about selling now in that area, if you look at the Facebook's IPO,
yep,
and the perceived drop in their popularity that exists at the moment, the share failure, does that not affect your...
Well, I think
maybe future ideas?
Perhaps, but I think Facebook has been scrutinized heavily, just because it actually went public, and there was a lot of
Will you
issues.
go public?
No, I think that this is not in our DNA. I think that we've got a different approach. We like the idea of remaining private. And to be fair, look, let's be humble here. We are a small company. We are nowhere near the size of a Facebook to even aspire for IPO size just yet.
Talking of size, just interrupting, how many of you are there? How big is the company? Yes.
There's about 55 of us, and there should be 60 by the end of the year.
So it's quite a large company. Are they all shareholders in a way? How do you reward?
We have an option pool, obviously, for our key staff. But we do incentivize people well, and we do have a number of shareholders involved in the business.
It's a very nice idea to be all lovey-dovey in the family, and we all look after our staff and everything like that. But are you basically a businessman or a philanthropist?
I like to believe I'm more of a businessman before becoming a philanthropist, and I aspire to become a philanthropist once I will be a more accomplished businessman. So I think that we try to do things in our own ways to give back to the community, to help others, to inspire the new generations of entrepreneurs. But we have so much more to prove first with this business before aspiring to...
Do you believe that is the new breed of businessman in the world today? He's got to be a bit of both? Or gone are the old killer, let's make a profit banker type characters?
I think you're always going to have, the two schools of thoughts. I think you're going to have those that succeed, and to succeed so well, they have to be very shrewd and potentially destructive in their way, because that's sometimes the way you have to be if you really want to get to the top. But it doesn't mean that you can't get to the top without being a bit of both.
How much connection do you have with the users of your system, WAYN?
I mean, we have a connection in a sense that we try to be present as founders in the community. We have regular announcements, and we try to appeal as, innovators and people that can be approached in a very sort of simple way. We don't like to have a barrier between, the management and the people behind the actual concept and the real users. We like to get involved with them, get their feedback. So I would like to say that we are quite involved. I mean, not on a face-to-face sort of physical way, although we do have events that we run every now and then in London, which is where the headquarters of the company is, and we like to throw an event every now and then to meet the actual users, and they get invited for those that are in London.
And finally, what's on the horizon? What's new coming?
Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, we have massively changed our interface in the last couple of days. Those changes are actually not live for every single user on the site. It's only for a very small section, because we're still in the testing mode, trying to understand the reaction of those users, because change is very often disputed. People don't like change. But so far, I have to say that this new release that just gone live has been very positive, very well received, and based on the latest sort of data that we've been looking at, I think there's going to be even more positive things coming up, and we're going to be looking to roll out to this new release to every single users worldwide.
Jerome Touze, merci beaucoup, mon ami.
No, merci
Thank you very much.
Your French is better than my English.
I assure you it's not. But what is good is a simple, easy way for a tourist or a businessman or a sports fan to find his way around the world and find out where they can stay and how they can travel. WAYN.com. That's the place to go.